Everybody was full at practice today, so no injuries. Okay, I guess that'll be it.
Mike, you guys have faced a lot of top-notch returners this year. Cordarrelle Patterson has 2 touchdown return kickoffs. Excuse me. What do you guys need to do to keep him in check?
Kick it out of the end zone. Gives you your best chance. Our coverage teams are getting better. They have been much improved over the last few weeks. Hopefully we can continue to do that. And we'll find out that, we'll be tested Thursday night for sure. He's number 1 in the National Football League in kickoff return yardage, and we've got our work cut out for us, that's for sure.
You talked about Robert, how that was probably his best game, the way he was on third downs. What's the key for a quarterback to kind of bottling that up and continuing that and not just being like a flash here and there?
Well, your growth, continued growth at the position. The more comfortable you feel with reading coverages, your technique with throwing, your ability to sidestep and move around the pocket and still focus downfield, your familiarity with the strengths and weaknesses of football players, be it a cornerback, a linebacker, a lot of things that go into it.
Mike, you've had pretty good success against Adrian Peterson over the years. He hasn't had a 100-yard game against you guys yet. What's been the key, do you think, to controlling him? Does he look like the same back as ever this year?
Well, I know the one game he got hurt, so he went out early. I think everybody knows how talented he is, and if you give him one step, one chance, breaks a tackle, he's got the ability to go to distance. So you got to have everybody involved. Everybody has to have a sense of urgency to get to the football because he's got the unique ability to make people miss, and if you don't have a lot of people around there, he's going to get some big plays. So team defense is going to be the key for us. A lot of people getting into the football.
Mike, you guys had one drive the other day, almost 8 minutes. You had another drive that was about 6 minutes long. Earlier in the year, you guys weren't able to sustain a lot of these drives on offense, but now things have kind of taken a turn, and you're able to string some drives together. What has been the change there? What do you think has been the thing that's kind of helped you guys move the ball?
I kind of said this after the second, third game, is to kind of evaluate us at mid-season and evaluate us at the end of the season. That's football. We've talked about third downs and maybe a third down play, maybe a drop ball, but the consistency with 11 guys playing together and was usually the key.
Yeah, so you had the guys out there, no helmets, no pads. Is it just really important this week to make sure they don't leave it on the practice field and kind of save every bit of strength and wear and tear on the body for Thursday?
When you have a game like we did Sunday afternoon, and you have a practice today, today's Friday for us and game preparation. And so on Friday is usually the day that you're not pushing the guys too hard. You're getting ready for the game. So a lot of it right now is mental preparation, watching a lot of film over the next 48-plus hours. It's not really physical coming off that game we just had, especially going in overtime. But you take all those factors into consideration in a short week.
The year Christian Ponder was drafted 12th by Minnesota, there's a lot of talk that you guys could draft a quarterback. I think Newton went 1, Locker went 8, and then Gabbert 10. Mm-hmm. You guys were on the clock. What did you think of Ponder, and what do you think of him now?
Well, I don't go through a lot of those things for reasons because of free agency. When it does come up, you don't always show your hand. But we had him in here. I thought he's a great kid. He's a guy that was ranked very high, really a class individual, a good athlete as well. And he's in that 4.6 speed, or has that 4.6 speed. He's quick, and he's got a good arm, so I got a lot of respect for him.
Mike, I thought it was interesting what Leslie said yesterday about Adrian coming back from his ACL, and he said they had him on a pitch count, and by November they were able to kind of let him loose, and they really saw the Adrian that they wanted to see. Obviously, with a quarterback and Robert, it's different because he touches the ball every play. But what similarities could there be now that we're in November and Robert's off of the injury?
That's a good question. I think the big difference with a quarterback, especially coming into his second year, is what you miss in the offseason. As a running back, what do they really do in the offseason? They're trying to get themselves, in great football shape, working on their strength. As a quarterback, you're working on your drops, you're working on, mechanics, so many things that you do after your first year of learning the system, learning the terminology. And I think that's the big difference with a quarterback because you miss all those months of preparation getting yourself ready for your pro debut. And when I say that, going into your second year, because now you know the terminology, now you know the system. But I thought Robert did a heck of a job, getting stronger, quicker, got a lot of mental reps, did everything he could do to get himself ready. And now you just kind of work through it, and that's what he's doing. His best game was last week.
Mike, you joked yesterday that the Vikings pretty much listed their entire team. You joked yesterday that the Vikings pretty much listed their entire team in the injury report because of the situation. But when you look at not practicing with the helmets and pads today, and safety and all those kinds of issues going into a Thursday game, when the NFL talks all this time about the developments of safety initiatives and all that kind of stuff, then you have to play Thursday games. Does it seem kind of counterintuitive in a way to have to do that?
Yes. I don't want to get into it, obviously. Do I agree with you? Yes, I do. Yeah.
Mike,
but they didn't call me up when they scheduled these games.
you guys ran the ball really well on Sunday, and actually running the ball better lately. Minnesota for years had the Williamses stopping the run, and they seem to keep going. What is it they're doing now to be effective against the run? Because they're struggling in a lot of other areas.
That's a great question. It's a playoff team a year ago, and they're playing like that. I mean, they've given up some yards on pass defense, but when I take a look at them playing Dallas, I said Dallas had 36 yards. They didn't even try to run the football. They're no different. They're a heck of a defensive football team, and I got a lot of respect for them. A lot of players that are out there playing extremely hard, and decided on Ponder, their quarterback, and he played extremely well against Dallas, and had a good chance to win the football game. So our football team understands that, and we know playing over there with a 1-7 record, people don't like 1-7 record in the national football team, especially a team coming off a playoff with a lot of pride. So we know we're going to get their best shot.
Last night when you were talking about the Miami situation, you said sometimes you have to keep an eye on rookies if they're nervous type. Who here is responsible for that, and what's the protocol for just monitoring locker room culture?
Well, every team's a little bit different. I think this is the situation we're talking about. Miami is really a unique situation. I've read a little bit more over the last 12 hours exactly what has been transpiring. That's quite unusual. I've never heard of anything like that before. So to compare that with most locker rooms in the NFL, I wouldn't even make a comparison there because I don't think it happens very often. I've never heard of anything like this happening. But you've got your leaders in the locker room that hopefully would prevent anything like that from happening that they knew about anyhow. Anything else? Okay, thanks.